Around the world and across Nigeria, if you just joined us, it's still Enterprise Money and Enterprise Television. Now our main conversation.
The Chief Magistrate's Court in Ado Ekiti has remanded lawyer and activist Dele Farotimi in prison over allegations of defaming Afe Babalola, a senior advocate of Nigeria and founder of Afe Babalola University.
And the defamation claim stems from Farotimi's book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System, which allegedly accuses Babalola of corruption and corrupting the Supreme Court for fraudulent judgment. Arrested in Lagos and transported to Ado Ekiti, Farotimi pleaded not guilty to the 16 charges. Prosecutors requested his remand, citing ongoing investigations and concerns about national security. And defense lawyer Peter Akeredolu argued for bail on self-recognize and emphasizing Farotimi's status as a lawyer of 25 years and his health challenges. However, Magistrate Abayomi Adeosun denied the oral bail application, stating insufficient evidence to grant it. And Farotimi remains in custody pending a formal bail application hearing on 10 December. All right, that's our topic for today. Now let's have our conversation. Still with us is Emeka Magnago, journalist and public affairs analyst. Thank you so very much, Emeka. Thank you so much for being part of our show today. Okay, let's get into the main issue. Now let's look at the power of the press and activism in legal cases. Now, historically, it's been known that lawyers and activists in Nigeria have used the press and public platforms to expose corruption or challenge the status quo. Now, coming into the case of Farotimi, how does Farotimi's use of his book as a tool of activism align with or differ from past activists who face legal repercussions for speaking out against perceived corruption in the legal or political system?
Thank you very much. Yeah, you know, books are a very powerful medium for, fighting injustice, for correcting perceived wrongs, and for advocating social justice, socio-economic justice, political justice. So, excuse me, in the case of Dele Farotimi, of course, that book, how the criminal justice system works in Nigeria, so I think so. He used a portion to highlight his experiences, what he called his personal experiences, concerning, certain case and, certain dramatist personnel. So, over the years, books have been such a powerful tool, that you find out that people have gone to great lengths, that if books were human beings, honestly speaking, they will be killed over and over again. But the interesting thing is that any attempt made to kill a book makes it popular. Look at Satanic Verses, for instance. Look at how popular it became. Many people didn't even know about the Satanic Verses until a cleric somewhere declared a fatwa on the author, Salman Rushdie. And the whole world suddenly got to know that there was, and then there was no social media. If you remember, it was 1986, there was no social media. But the book now went everywhere. And so have some other books. There have been books here and there, because societies grow when people read a lot. The major problem of our society is that we thrive too much on superstition. We don't read. We don't, we don't seek knowledge. We don't broaden our horizon. So we wait for one pastor somewhere to just bring something and tell us, and we shout hallelujah, without going to find out ourselves, forgetting that, we ought to go and find out by ourselves. An Islamic cleric will come and say one thing or the other, and people will just jump up without caring to ask basic questions. So that's why you see there have been attempts to criminalize books. Even you find out certain books, just some sentences, some lines have caused so much distress and tension, lawsuits and all of that. So I'm not surprised that this book by Dele Farotimi is generating this buzz, because if you go online, so many people are buying the book. Are even buying and giving out. Why? Because of his status as a social crusader. And that is where the danger comes. When someone like Farotimi is perceived by the society as a social crusader, as a fighter for justice, as somebody who speaks truth to power, the public will be ready to forgive him as many things as possible. And any attempt to, use the law against him will be viewed as repression. And there's very little you can do, to sway public opinion. Because even people will come to defend you, will do so advisedly. Because you don't know where things might turn. So, but it's necessary to read books. Because books help us to get enlightened.
All right, so let's, of course, look at the big man in all of this issue, and that's Affair Babalola S.A.N. And it's very important that we state here that he is a renowned lawyer, 94 years old today. So he is truly, someone that lots of people should look up to. But of course, the question still begs, why would a 94-year-old man really be so conscious about what was written by someone he would have tutored, someone he had, inspired? Why do you think he would love to go to that extent to defend something he would have, ignored?
If you look at the contents, which have led to the arrest of Dele Farotimi, well, some people say he was abducted by the police. But if you look at the contents, you will find out that they present a worrisome scenario about the alleged, corrupting of the judiciary, the alleged subversion of justice. As a matter of fact, you see that Dele Farotimi said, he had personal encounters with Chief Affair Babalola, and that Chief Affair Babalola libeled him, he sued him, but the judiciary did not give him justice. So when you read all of those things, you see that, there are certain things in between both individuals, Babalola and Farotimi, that, may not be available to the public view. That's why I had reason yesterday to caution some people who are making comments on social media. Because I said you're not even seized of the facts of the case. That in between both men, there are certain things that are not being thrown out, that will not be thrown out into the public.
Okay, between Affair Babalola
and Farotimi. That for a man, Farotimi is a senior lawyer with over 20 years experience at the bar. So for somebody like that to go and put something in a book, he's ready to be damned. He's ready for anybody to be damned. So Farotimi is not just one blogger somewhere just writing some phantom things. He knows the implication of what he has written in that book. And he knows he's ready to defend it, with his chest, with the last drop of his blood. So that is why we must be very careful in things like this. Yes, Chief Affair Babalola has a right as an individual to defend his integrity and all of that, because he was called, look at the categorization, the characterization, as the biggest polluter of the judiciary and all of that. Yes, Nigerians, have not been too happy with the judiciary, in terms of a number of cases and all of that. And a lot of people have had reason to complain bitterly about how their cases were frustrated in court. And then you also find out that the police are so quick to defend those who are in power, those who are rich, to just quickly run and arrest people, when the police themselves are committing horrendous crimes against the people. I was told the other day by somebody who just was detained in one police station in Ogun State, how some boys were just walking around 11, and the policeman stopped and picked them and said they were wandering at a late hour. There is nothing like wandering. There is no offense called wandering in the statute books. There is no law that says you should not be out at any particular hour of the day. There is no law like that. You arrest people, you put somebody in custody, in detention, not in custody, for 11 days. You enter a police station, they say you should switch off your phone. You arrest people, you don't allow them to call their relations. What is that? That is abduction. And in this case, look at how the police went. quickly they pick Dele Farotimi. But we have cases of kidnappers. How quickly does the police respond? We have cases of these terrorists. You know, the police are the primary agency charged with internal security. How quickly do they respond? Those issues. That's what people are saying. Yes, I know the criminal code, section 375, you know, sort of criminalizes defamation. Then there are some aspects of, chapter 33 of the criminal code that, criminalize defamation. But there are still arguments about it, that defamation is basically a civil matter. That criminalizing defamation is an attempt at shutting off free speech, which is guaranteed by the Constitution. The Constitution guarantees free speech. So if you feel you have been defamed or libel, you should initiate a civil action. But people of power, people of means, they just go write a petition to the police. And the police are quick to jump to it. But if you go and check the Nigerian police, I can assure you that there are petitions written by ordinary people in society that have maybe not been treated, or just, maybe people were arrested and later released. So what I believe is this. Well, with due respect to him, to Chief Babalola, he has gone to defend his name. But I think in this matter, caution should be exercised. People should tread softly. You have seen the Nigerian Bar Association, they've already issued, statement, because they've been also fighting the criminalization of defamation. It doesn't help. The fact that 2 lawyers are involved in this matter, it will bring down the bar. I can assure you, the bar and the bench are going to be seriously hot in this matter. Go and write it down.
Thank you, Emeka. Now, let's look at the constitutional rights and national security concerns, because the prosecutor argued that the defendant be kept as Ado Ekiti, and at the Correctional Center, pending the conclusion of the investigation, noting with historical examples where national security concerns were used to justify the detention of individuals without full trial, and how has this evolved over time in Nigeria's jurisprudence?
The prosecutor will have to prove that in a sense. Babalola is not the chief of army staff. Babalola is not the Inspector General of Police. He's an ordinary citizen. He's a private citizen. So what is it? What has national? You see, that is the problem. When they want to use state power to repress people, they talk of national security. And they are the threats. They are the ones who threaten national security. Which national security? You see, the other day, the Ekiti State government was warning headers not to do anything to disrupt its agricultural program. You've not dealt with that one. You went all the way to Lagos to bring somebody, and you say national security. In what way? This is the 21st century. We are in a democracy. We are not in military rule. It is also very important, as been said again and again and again, that all that repressive laws in our, repressive laws should be abrogated. That's the responsibility of the National Assembly. But they will not do it because those laws protect them. They can use those laws to oppress the ordinary people. Look at the other day that the journalist, Segun Olatunji, former editor of, is it First Facts or First News, was abducted by soldiers. It now happened that it was the Defense Intelligence Agency that abducted him. What excuse were they giving? They now went to one small line somewhere and said that they could be deployed, by blah, 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 blah. So are you telling me now that the Chief of Staff to President Tinubu is in a position to order the military to go and pick an individual because of something that affects him? You see, these are the things we are talking about. Abuse of the law. That is a simple thing. If you had any issue that Segun Olatunji wrote something that was false, you could have sued him. When you sue him. But it was so bad that for some days nobody knew where Segun Olatunji was. Nobody knew where he was. Until people started raising the alarm, public outcry, and they now came out to say yes, he was with them. Not even the Minister of Information knew where he was. So, we remember also when, was it Jonathan was president then? Or was it who was in power then? And then was it his ADC or chief security or whatever, went and ordered that Channel Television should be shut down. National Security Advisor was away, he was out of the country, he wasn't briefed. Minister of Information was not briefed. People were not, nobody. They were just, who could have given this order? Who could have given? And it happened that it was just one officer, just in his position as an aide to the president that gave. So, you see, we must deepen democracy. The president, Bola Tinubu has been running from country to country looking for foreign investors. Why are they not trooping to Nigeria? Because of the absence of, because of these violations of the rule of law. These people read things online. Their countries have embassies in Nigeria that, file briefings that advise them on things. You see you see the security advisories, issued from time to time by embassies. You see what they say. So the point is this: those in power must realize that they have a responsibility to uphold democracy. Those in National Assembly, instead of some of those things they occupy their times with, their time with, they should know that they hold the sacred mandate of the people. Repressive laws should be abrogated. Then there should be an open debate on defamation.
Now, I was about coming to that particular thing because there's an ongoing debate on balancing defamation laws and the right to free speech in the country. Now, using the case of Dele Farotimi, now comparing it to the previous landmark rulings, how can this case impact the ongoing debate? If a lawyer can be going through this, what would now happen to a common Nigerian?
The common Nigerian should fight his way through. He should fight his way through. That's why you also have public advocates. In fact, interestingly, you now have somebody like a very dark black man. Yes, in unusual times, you have unusual situations. People should speak up. If you see something, say something.
Now,
where your rights are violated, you should seek redress. But the police and security agencies know a lot of Nigerians are impoverished. They are poor. So they cannot maybe afford the services of a lawyer. They may even be ignorant of their rights. They may be ignorant of the fact that the police have no power to arrest them in certain things, concerning certain things. But, because we're in a hurry, always in a hurry. We are always in a hurry, just let it go. Don't worry. God will take control. That is the way we run this society. God will take control. And then people now become delinquents. Become a threat to the society, to the civil society. They even become a threat to the authorities that put them there. Now, yes, the police have been used to arrest Dele Farotimi, but it has been criticized because even lawyers have said that it should not become a practice. And I believe that in no distant time there will be a robust debate on whether defamation should be criminal or should be civil. Because I'm not a lawyer, but from the research I've made, found out that you must first establish the civil misdemeanor before now looking at the criminal intent. So you cannot, like what our prosecutor is saying, it's not sustainable. It's a national security. People were arrested. On what basis? On what basis? Some went to court now and they got hefty compensation from the courts. Some of which have not been paid. Okay, look at DJ Switch, that young lady. Recently, the ECOWAS court ruled that the Lagos State government Nigerian government must compensate herself and two other people. But you saw all people were saying, all the things people were saying, defamatory things against the girl. How many of them have come out now with their full chest to follow up those things they were saying? That's it. That tells you that, you see, we must encourage people to read more. People should read. People should read books and get more enlightened. This matter has gone to court. How it turns out, well, because it's going to go beyond the magistrate court. Like there's been the argument that the judge, the chief magistrate should have granted him bail. That you judge with an oral application, you can get bail. But why did the chief magistrate demand a written application? Well, with due respect to the Chief Magistrate, well, it has, the Chief Magistrate Court has ruled, on that. So we are waiting for the 10th when the written application for bail will be moved, and then we'll see how it turns out. But what I do know is that we need to really look at our laws to ensure that they are not used against the people.
Sorry for that.
That they are not used against the people. That the laws, that if there are laws that, work against free speech, they should be abrogated.
All right. While we take a look at the laws and all that it's obtainable, within it, let's equally look at the issue of reputation management in this particular case. Hours before his arrest, that's Dele Farotimi, he said in a statement online that he was being sought after by police on a warrant from Mr. Babalola and another separate complaint from Tony Elumelu of United Bank of Africa. And of course, they said the petition from Elumelu was not acted upon according to that. So let's take a look at this particular issue from the angle of reputation and management. When someone defames another person, allegedly, do you think the swift way of resolving it is taking the matters in your hands by, of course, engaging the authority, or taking the matters in your hand by first assessing the issue and knowing how to handle it without necessarily having it go overboard like we have seen today, particularly with that of Tony Elumelu. Now, what he's been arrested for is for Afe Babalola. We don't know what that of Tony Elumelu would equally look like.
No, you see, like there was something this human rights lawyer, Inibe Effiong, put on X, this morning, where he was saying that there were people who had approached him, that let's use the police to arrest this person. This person has defamed me. And he told them, no. That defamation is better to pursue it as a civil matter. It's better to pursue it as a civil matter. So, of course, it's in your own view. If you feel you are defamed, you are the one who assesses the fact of defamation, and then you consult your lawyer. So in this case, Chief Babalola is a lawyer, a senior lawyer for that matter. So he has assessed it and saying that he has, that he has been defamed, and then he has enough reason to seek judicial redress. So of course, it's within his rights. If he feels that his reputation has been lowered in the estimation of right-thinking people in society, he is within his rights to seek judicial redress. But what I'm talking about is this: the judiciary should not be weaponized against the people. That is the problem a lot of Nigerians have with the judiciary, where you weaponize the law against the people. The law is actually supposed to make the society better, not to criminalize people. You see street vendors, street traders, you pick them on the street, you say mobile court, you just arrange them and throw them into jail. When these are people who can be put to better use in society. That's why you see, like Lagos State. Lagos has led the way in judicial reforms. So Lagos, for instance, says, okay, that there are alternatives, to custodial sentences, so that people maybe engage in environmental sanitation, a lot of those things. At least you want to reform the individual, not to turn the individual into something worse than what he or she was before that offense was committed. And sometimes it could be out of ignorance. Some of those things could be out of ignorance. Now, somebody might write something, maybe, but may, actually not have the intention of defamation. It's the person's lawyer that will prove that there was no intention to defame. And I tell you what, the first question you asked me, I just got information. A number of books that are very popular today were actually banned. The Satanic Verses, I mentioned it. Ulysses by James Joyce. The Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. You now see strong advocates for evolution. But at the time this book was written, it was a no-go area. The Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence, The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov, The Color Purple by Alice Walker, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, The Protocols of the Elders of Zion. You know. Now, I'll take this one. It was published in 1903. This anti-Semitic text has been widely discredited as a hoax, but its publication and dissemination have contributed to anti-Semitic violence and persecution. It has been condemned as a hoax that is fake, but it's still being disseminated. So that's the problem. Sorry, I don't want to call it. That's a challenge with written texts. You never know how people might view it, you know. So when somebody decides to go and put something in a book, of course, you know, Dele Farotimi is someone who has strong views on issues. So he put out his views very strongly. He didn't mince words. So this, I think, will lead to an investigation, you know, by the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee. Then again, I think by the National Judicial Council. I hope it will lead to a review of the case in question. You know, all the judges, you know, involved and all that. The matter has to be investigated, you know, to be sure. Because he even talked about it going up to the Supreme Court. So all of those things need to be looked into. Because you talked about reputation. There's also perception. The perception of the ordinary man ought to be that the court is the last hope of the common man. So the common man must have confidence in the courts. Otherwise, it will affect our society negatively.
Okay, thank you, Emeka. Now, let's look at the long-term impact on activist lawyers in Nigeria. You should just add this to your pattern shot now. Yeah. Let's say if Farotimi is convicted or faces extended detention. Now, what long-term...
No, he'll be granted.
Yes.
Defamation is bailable.
Yeah. What long-term consequences could this have for other lawyers and activists in Nigeria who are critical of the status quo? And historically, there have been such cases that have affected the willingness of professionals to engage in legal activism against corruption and judicial misconduct.
It won't stop people. One, like I said, Chief Babalola is not a government person. So we must make a clear distinction between Dele Farotimi's, you know, activism and his issues with Chief Babalola. We have to make a clear distinction. But you see, people must have activists in every society. You can say Donald Trump has become an activist of sorts.
President and activist.
You know? Yes, president and activist of sorts. You know, I mean, we continue to have activists, you know, as long as this world remains, as long as human beings remain on planet Earth, we'll continue to have
even activists. When things are perfect.
There can't be any perfect. There cannot be. Go and check those countries you say are number one on the world's happiest index. Go and check all those countries you say they are the best and all of that. They still have problems. But the way they manage perception is such that they won't want to bring out those negative, horrible things that, you know, would cast them in a negative light. So there will continue to be, you know, I mean, you saw what the late irrepressible fella, Anikulapo Kuti, said in his trial for drug trafficking, where he said, Justice Okoroidogu, Judge, don't come beg me. You don't beg me. You know, there will always be those dramatic moments, you know, from activists. But I think the basic thing for us is that in making public commentary, we must, you know, ensure that, you know, we get our, like they say, we get our facts right. And then when we make claims, we'll be able to substantiate and defend those claims. Then again, in seeking to correct a wrong, the law should not be weaponized against anybody. The state institutions like the police should not be weaponized against anybody. Because you can see now, people are lumping everything together. Even the prosecutor is also helping to make, you know, to bring a certain perception about the matter. Talking about national security. So what you're doing is that you are now dragging his activism into a matter that has to do with just between himself and Chief Babalola. You are now dragging the state into it. It doesn't help. Such things don't help matters. You know, when you drag the state into it, what people will clearly see is that the Tinubu administration is after Dele Farotimi, using Chief Babalola. And of course, when matters start and continue like that, you just know that it's just like the conversation in the marketplace. It gets lost.
It goes wild and out.
In the din. So I hope that this matter will be somehow resolved. You know, somehow resolved and sorted out, you know, in such a way that will continue to inspire confidence in the judiciary, confidence in the bar and the bench, confidence in lawyers, confidence in the law, and confidence in society. And that no longer will get to a point where the police will no longer be used to effect arrest for defamation. Go to court. After all, they are the ones that said those who lost elections, who are just losers, should go to court. But when they have issue of defamation, they don't go to court. They go to the police station.
Definitely.
So what kind of hypocrisy is that?
Very well said. We can go on and on and on, but I'd love to, you know, say that we really did an awesome job with this particular topic.
True.
We did an awesome job, and I want to believe those who know better, those in authority, would listen to us and maybe go back to watch this. You can always see it and watch it on Enterprise TV News. Enterprise TV 7. Yes, you can always go and watch that, so you can have a fine print understanding of what we have talked about today. Thank you so very much, Emeka Madnago, for really doing an awesome job with this particular topic. Choma.
Thank you so much, Harry.
Thank you as always.
Yeah. And so we'll come your way again tomorrow. I want to say a very big thank you. Do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. I'm Choma Okoye.
I am Henry Gubike. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.